Hello, I'm James Helder. Welcome to another special episode of the January transfer window season roundup. This time it's a turn of my very own club, Arsenal. I'm quite fortunate enough to be joined by Trev the Gooner Hillsey, big podcaster on the Arsenal scene. And I say it's fantastic to have you here, Trev. How are you, my son?
Thanks for asking me, James. I'm feeling, mate. If Arsenal fans are not feeling good this week, we'll never be feeling good, will we? I'm over the moon, mate. We're doing brilliant. We've had a great week. We're having a great season. Well, bring it on, you know.
Yeah, I've got to say, I think the right place to start is a North London derby. It's been a long time since we've gone to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and managed to get a win off of them, which I think's been quite a long overdue win for Arsenal, and the fans are ecstatic about it. How do you assess Arsenal's performance, in particular against Tottenham Hotspur?
I'd absolutely. It's all right, people thinking I'm saying this after the game, but I'd no doubt we'd win it, James. I'd no doubt we'd win it. I thought that last season when we put out that makeshift side, you know, with a few weaknesses in the side, it might have lulled Tottenham into a false sense of security this season at White Lane. But I'd no doubt we'd win it. And after the first 10 minutes, I was even more certain because everything about the Arsenal pointed to us winning that game. We are a better football team at this present time than Tottenham Hotspur. And I knew we would win it.
Tottenham thought they closed the gap on Arsenal, in particular with the way we ended last season and then the dramatics in the derby. It seems to me that Arsenal have progressed and transitioned this season. Things have fallen into place for Mikel Arteta. What's been the difference to Arsenal this year to Arsenal in the past, Trev?
Well, it's a nice question to answer, really. And my view on it is that Arteta inherited a side in bits, right? I felt very sorry for Unai Emery before Mikel Arteta. I genuinely did, because he inherited a side. It wasn't a team. It was a side with players in. They weren't playing as a team. And when we had got Arteta in, I thought, yeah, this we're all right here. This bloke knows what he's doing. He's had a great tutor in Pep. And the great thing about Arteta is he knew the weaknesses were behind the scenes, and he changed the backroom staff, and he identified the weak players, and he cleared out Ozil, and he ended up getting rid of Aubameyang. He's not afraid to be ruthless if he has to be, and that's what you need. You know, that's what you need. And now we're looking at the benefits. He's taken a team that was separate players, all playing for themselves, maybe, and now you look, it's a team. James, you look at them when they celebrate a goal, when they come out on the field. Whatever they do on that pitch, you can tell they're a team. They're 11, you know. Wonderful, mate. Wonderful times for us to be back doing that.
Let's talk about the performances in the North London derby. And I suppose wider this season, Odegaard has been phenomenal for Arsenal. He's probably been the best attacking midfielder in the Premier League this season. What's your thoughts on Odegaard as a player?
Well, do you know what? I'm an honest person, James, right? And when we had Odegaard on loan, he had some good games and I thought he had some poor games, and the jury was out a bit on him, you know. And when we brought him back, I thought, right, I don't know, but he's not let us down. He's a captain with leaders around him, and he's just developed into that role. And I can't put it in a single role, what we do, right? I look upon, we've got this front four, right? We've got Saka, we've got Martinelli, we've got Odegaard, we've got Nketiah. And what they've done is they've all helped each other to improve. I'm sure they have.
Yeah.
Not just one of them. Each one of them has made each other improve. And Odegaard has become part of that. And you just watch him every week, his confidence grows, you know. It's a pleasure to watch him. And what a steal, eh? What did we pay? 30 million?
30 million.
30 million. Bargain.
How much would you value him now? How much do you think that value has rose and his stock has gone up since that transfer by Mikel Arteta?
What, in today's climate? I don't know, 100 million, who knows, 80 million, 100 million, he's that good. But then you'd value most of the Arsenal team at that price, wouldn't you? I can't see a weakness in our side. I genuinely cannot see a weakness in our best 11, you know? I just look at it and I think, oh, wow, this is the best we've had for a long, long time.
What was your thoughts on Ramsdale? Now, the man's had a man-of-the-match performance in the North London derby. Yes, he has antagonised the Spurs fans a little bit with his celebration, but he's just played probably one of the best games he's had in an Arsenal shirt. Is he even his right to celebrate that? Is he well within his rights to enjoy that moment as an Arsenal goalkeeper?
Well, of course he is, right? Look, I've been to many games and watched Ramsdale now playing for us. And in away games in particular, he loves the banter with the away fans, James. Yeah. He does it, he'll play with the fans behind the goal and he'll kiss his badge and he'll bump up his chest. And that's the way the boy is, And he was doing nothing different at Tottenham than he's done with the fans, well, ever since he's been at the club. So, of course, he's within his right to do that. I mean, he didn't do it in an angry way. He always has a smile on his face, the lad, I've been very lucky to meet his dad a couple of times at away games, Nick, who goes to all the away games, and he mixes with the fans, there's Ramsdale's dad. And he said to me, and I quote, he's very happy at our club. He can see himself there for the next 10 years, because he's happy. And he shows that on the field. He shows it in his game and he shows it in his attitude, James. Yeah. And what you forget is he's having a bit of banter with the fans behind the goal with a smile on his face. There were some Tottenham players last season, and I'll name one, Dyer, who was at the Arsenal fans in their faces, pointing to the pitch, come off the pitch and I'll face up to you. Now, that's unacceptable. Banter like Ramsdale does, I can't see a problem. He had a smile on his face. There was no antagonism there,
What people forget is the amount of abuse he would have got for that 45 minutes, being right by the opposition fans in a big heated North London derby. Before we come on to Jay from the In-Betweeners trying to kick Ramsdale, the absolute you-know-what, let's talk a little bit about Richarlison. Yeah, he's from the favelas in Brazil. I know he's an Aggie character. He's got a little bit of a temper on him. What did you think of his actions when the final whistle had gone during the North London derby?
Well, do you know what, mate? It wasn't until after the final whistle, and when you've looked back this week, you've seen videos on him. He didn't just fall out with Ramsdale. He had a fallout with Tommy Asu, and there was something else I saw where he fell out with someone. He's a bit of a brat, isn't he, Richarlison? He's a bit of a brat, and he didn't just get in Ramsdale's face or push him. He put his hands in his face, didn't he? I don't know if it was a fist or not. I'm not going to claim that. But I've seen today he's not going to face any charges for it, which I find, after what we've been through recently, with our players being held to task for their actions, it just shows how inconsistent our systems are, because he was awful. He was bang out of order, and everyone knows that,
Credit to Ramsdale. Okay, a lot of Premier League players, having had a contact from another player, probably would have rolled around on the floor, made a meal of it. Ramsdale didn't. He didn't respond to him. He didn't let the situation and the temper get the better of him. He handled himself impeccably. And then we get, as we've mentioned, that Tottenham fan who's run on the pitch and thought it was a right decision to try and kick Ramsdale, which again, if he would have reacted to that, he probably could have caused a riot. With the likes of Granit Xhaka on, who are quite protective of his teammates, it could have caused a riot. But I thought his attitude, his temperament was impeccable. Yet again, what did you make of that incident?
Ramsdale was brilliant, wasn't he? He just said, I'm getting my gloves and I'm walking away. And that was, from Ramsdale's perspective, I suppose that was the end of it. I think that fan, what probably inside the Tottenham fans more than Ramsdale smiling at him and kissing the badge was Richarlison's actions, with his angry face, and he's raising his hands to Ramsdale. That's setting an example to the fans. Richarlison has set the example of how he felt about Ramsdale, and that fan has joined in. He did it after Richarlison had been in Ramsdale's face. And from my perspective, Richarlison was the cause of that. That fan's been stupid. That fan's been dealt with. He's in court tomorrow. I know that.
Yeah.
The cause of it, Richarlison, the angry cause of it, Ramsdale was the light-heartedness cause of it, but the actual angry cause of it was Richarlison's actions. I can't figure it out.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? If you're inciting it and this and that, where do you draw the line? Richarlison, I think, can count himself quite lucky that he's not been reprimanded for his actions. I'm guessing it's a thin line, and he probably was just teetering on the brink of it. And the fan actions is probably, dare I say, helped Richarlison a little bit, because it's taken the heat off of him of the moment.
Yes.
I hope that fan, I hope they don't ban him. I hope his punishment should be to watch every home game next season. He should be there to enjoy it. I genuinely do.
you're not the first person that said that to me. You're not the first person that said it to me. I've seen on social media, by the way, that North Banksy has been down. I don't know if you've seen it, James. North Banksy has been down to the pub that lad ran or runs or owns or whatever, and has painted pictures of Ramsdale all around the pub on the walls.
That's brilliant. If we
I
got a
thought it was
screenshot of that,
hilarious.
let's see if we can get that up. Let's show the viewers that. That's incredible. And well done, North Banksy. Got a bit of
Yeah.
time for that.
Yeah, it's on
Derbies are always going to be heated, and it's just the way it is. Next week, we face our old foes from the 2000s, the noughties, as well, Manchester United.
Yeah.
Has there been a time, certainly in the last 10 or 15 years, where we can actually say that these two clubs are rivals again, if you like? I've got the quality in each side to hurt each other. I've placed in the league table for it to be a prominent fixture. What are your thoughts on Manchester United and Arsenal rekindling their rivalry?
It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a while since it meant the United and the Arsenal games have meant a lot. You're right. I think that, if I'm honest, I think Ten Hag has done a brilliant job at Man United. I sort of relate it a bit to where Arteta found himself with Arsenal 3 or 4 years ago. You know, Ten Hag is going into a United side that was falling apart, that was in bits. He's had the bottle to get rid of Ronaldo. He's changed. What's his name? Rashford couldn't kick a ball last season. You know, Ten Hag's come in and got him flying again. So I do think we had this conversation last night on our podcast, and I do think that these are probably the two best performing sides in the country at the moment, playing on Sunday. I still think we're better. I do still think we're better. I think we're further down the road.
Yeah.
I think we're a better side. But what really worries me is that Man United have got this horrible habit of sucker punching us, you know. Earlier in the season when we played at Man United fans may not agree, but in my view, we were by far the better side of the Arsenal. We were by far the better side on the day. But a young team got sucker punched, gave away 2 breakaway goals, you know, and we got beat. This Sunday, I'm hoping that we will have learned from that. I'm sure we will have learned from that. I'm sure that Arteta will get them ready, and I can't see us losing. I can see us winning by the odd goal. I honestly can.
How important is Sunday's game with a view to the title race for Arsenal? How important is it that they're able to do a job on this Manchester United team at home?
Well, what are we with? We're 8 points clear, aren't we? Man City in second place.
We're 8 points clear of City, 8 points clear of Manchester United, with a game in hand on Manchester United.
Yeah. So losing on Sunday, we're all going to be devastated, but it ain't going to be the end of the world. We will still be clear at the top of the league. I can't see us losing on Sunday, but what we've got to remember is that we're not going to win every game, you know, and our fans who are probably the second most important part of our season. Our fans have been magnificent this season, as one behind the team. Our fans have got to back our club. We're going to have the odd bad day. I don't think it's going to come this Sunday. I think that we're good enough to beat Man United. I think that probably games like Fulham, you know, who are playing really well at the moment, could be more of a problem than Man United. We're better. We're simply better, James, at the moment than Man United.
This season, we've managed to pick up points over teams that have caused us problems in the past. The way we dealt with Brighton, for instance.
Yeah.
In the past, we would have won a big game and then come unstuck against the likes of Brighton. I think Arteta's got the squad believing. He's got rid of the bad eggs, as you mentioned at the start, Trev. He's brought in his own players. He's cultivated the How-End youngsters. There seems to be a real camaraderie and togetherness that I haven't seen in years amongst his squad, probably since the Wenger days, if I'm being brutally honest. It seems to me that he's really galvanised the team. Interesting fact. Both Mikel and Arteta and Erik ten Hag have both worked under Pep Guardiola. They've seen him. They've worked with him closely. I thought that was quite a fantastic side story to the title race, if you like.
Well, there you go. It just goes to show what a great tutor Pep is. I'm not ashamed to say that I think Pep Guardiola is the best coach of the last few years, however long you want to say. But if you work for the best coach in the world, like Arteta and Ten Hag have, and you're clever with it, you're going to learn and you're going to use them skills that you've learned. to improve your own team. And that's exactly what we're seeing. That is exactly what we're seeing at the moment. We've got some great coaches at the top of the Premier League, and they're all going to push and push and push. And behind the see what people are not noticing. I'm just drifting. I do apologise, James. Is that behind us being clear, our 8 points clear, all the other teams below us they're all there. They're all bunched up, aren't they? You know, there's not a lot in it. And what we've got to remember as well is going back to what I just said. We might draw the odd game or lose the odd game. They're all going to do the same. You know, they're all going to do the same.
I'll make you right. One thing I want to touch on is we've just seen Romano, Mr. Here We Go, announce the fact that Leandro Trossard is going to be joining Arsenal from Brighton to give Nketiah a little bit more of a firepower, a little bit more of a challenge, I guess, to get into the side automatically till Jesus is back. What do you make of the signing of Leandro Trossard from Brighton to Arsenal?
Look, I'm going to be really honest, James. I'm not a person, I'm Arsenal through and through, me. I don't take a lot of notice of other clubs. I don't take a lot of notice of other players. I
love that.
I couldn't give a damn about them, to be honest. Yeah. But what I do is I trust Arteta. If Arteta says he wants Trossard at the Arsenal, and now he's got Trossard at the Arsenal, that'll do for me. From what I'm hearing, he can play several positions. He's not afraid to put his foot through the ball. You know, as you say, he can back Eddie. He can back any of that front four that I spoke about just now. So, yeah, that'll do for me. And what we paid 20 odd million for him.
I think the 27 million, Hilsey, I've read it at. I don't know if it's got any add-ons in there, but 27 million seems to be the going price. It's a good deal, isn't it?
I'll take it all day long. You know what? In a way, I'd take that before I take that other bloke that's gone to Chelsea.
Mikhailo Mudryk. He looks like in his Chelsea photo he's been kidnapped. He looked like a man who's been kidnapped and taken to the bridge.
How much has he gone there for?
I believe it's in the value of £85 million with add-ons. I believe the add-ons were taking it in excess of 100. But again, it's hard to speculate until all the full details come out. But it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for someone that's not played in the Premier League, that's for sure.
Absolutely. He's totally unproven. They don't know what they're getting for their money. They're hoping, they've got their fingers crossed because they're in trouble. They're not very good at the moment. They're clutching at straws. Well, what you've got to remember is Arsenal ain't got to clutch at straws, have we? We're already good. We're already better than Chelsea. So we ain't got to take that chance. We signed Trossard. Let's see how he goes.
We've waited 19 years for this season. We've had all kinds of abuse over the years about our team, the recruitment, the way the club's been carrying itself compared to our biggest rivals. How good does it feel, 18 games gone, for the Arsenal to be sitting top of the Premier League? What's your take on that, Trev?
Top of the Premier League by 8 points. I'm constantly smiling, mate. I've waited, I'm an old man. My first game at the Arsenal was in 1971, right? And we hadn't won the league for a long time then. Then we went from 71 to 89 before we won it again. 18 years. I think it's 18 or 19 years now since we last won it, isn't it?
19 years. Yeah.
James, we are right in it. Arsenal fans need to understand we are right in it. I'm not getting me up too much. I'm trying to reel it back in.
Yeah, I get that.
We are right in it.
Listen, we've all had a reluctancy to say that we're going to win the Premier League. We are in the title race, but at some point, listen, we've got to acknowledge the fact Arsenal are top of the Premier League. Okay, they're doing well. I know without the World Cup and everything else, we may have been a little bit further along, but we are where we are on merit. Arsenal are getting them W's on merit, mate, aren't they?
Of course they are. And you see, it's interesting you say that, James, because when the World Cup was on, I was thinking, now how are Arsenal going to come back from this break? Are we going to be flying again? Or are we going to fall apart a little bit because we ain't been together? Well, we were flying again, weren't we? We're flying again, And if we beat Man United, let's be confident, eh? When we beat Man United this weekend, then the rest of the league is then going to say, look, they really can win it now. They really can win it, these.
Yeah, it could be a pivotal moment in the title race. I know the players believe in Arteta. I know they're trusting everything that he's got to say. You've only got to look at his man management skills when he took Granit Xhaka off the pitch in the North London derby. every other manager and all the players, they would have been celebrating in getting engulfed in that moment of beating your big rivals for the first time in a long time at their ground. He was watching his players. He was more concerned with what Granit was doing than celebrating. And for me, that's a sign of a good coach, a good man manager, and someone that's got the best interest of Arsenal Football Club at heart.
Of course it is. Look, Xhaka's a different player this season, isn't he? He's unrecognisable, Xhaka. Yeah. Totally unrecognisable. From where he was with the fans to redeem himself like he has is amazing. And what Arteta did on Sunday was say to the players, don't be down here arguing with them Tottenham fans. Get up there and celebrate with our fans because we are one big club, one big family. And they all went to celebrate, didn't they? What a celebration it was. I didn't go on Sunday, James. I had a ticket, but I had to go somewhere else. And I'm gutted I missed it. I very rarely miss an North London derby. And I'm gutted I missed it. All the stories coming out of that ground about how good our fans were. I just love them. And yeah, Arteta was brilliant, mate. Just get down there, celebrate in front of our fans, let them do their thing, eh?
It just goes to show, right? We're being linked with £80 million Declan Rice. Fantastic English player. Regardless of the premium we have to pay for him being English, he's a fantastic player. People are saying, will he even get in the team over Granit? Obviously, Partey's been fantastic for us, but will he be able to get Granit out of the side? That just goes to show you, like you mentioned, what a transformation it is. People want to put Rice and Granit Xhaka in the same sort of sentence last season, but Granit Xhaka's form has been remarkable. What a turnaround.
Oh, it's amazing, mate. And you're right. Where would Rice fit in? If Xhaka and Partey are fit, you can't drop them. So that's a really interesting point you make. But you see, that's been another massive part of our improvement in my eyes, James, right? In that I talked about the four up front, right, that just do their thing. And that makes life easy for Xhaka and Partey because all they do is if they win the ball in midfield, which they're brilliant at doing, then they give it to any of our front four and they know for a fact we're off. We're going to be threatening, you know? And what happens is Partey and Xhaka creep up behind that front four and you get things like Partey nearly breaking that goalpost on Sunday, you know, and scoring reminders. And Xhaka getting in the box. Tell me before this season how many times Xhaka had got in the box for the club. You can count it on one hand.
The thing is, they were playing him so deep because we didn't have Partey.
Yeah.
So now you're kind of seeing the Granit Xhaka that Switzerland get, where he's deployed in a different role. He's not a CDM. I'm kind of getting Vieira, Petit vibes from them two at the minute, the way they're playing. And I hope I'm not overstating it, but I'm really getting that sort of vibe and that chemistry from them two.
I get it. It's a big statement, that, by the way, mate. Jesus. But I get it. I do get it. And you see, I don't know, I'm just talking how I feel about it, but the reason Partey and Xhaka can follow that front four forward is because they've got a decent defence behind them.
Yeah.
You know, and now we're covering the whole side. We're saying, and we are good. We're good from 1 to 11. I mean, Saliba and Gabriel, some people said Gabriel's dropped off a bit, but I don't buy into that. Saliba and Gabriel were just unbelievable. White's been transformed into probably the best right back in the country, you know?
Yeah.
And then at left back, we've got Tierney and Zinchenko. I can't split them, but they're two different players. If you watch Zinchenko when he plays left back, right, he spends most of his time in the middle of midfield.
100%. And then we drop to a back three with the natural right foot of Ben White and the left foot of Gabriel. It's a perfect system. Zinchenko ends up being more like an American-style quarterback. I've got time for it.
That's exactly how I read it. I watch it. Zinchenko pushes forward into the midfield and Gabriel drops out and just plays it part of the back three, you know? Brilliant. Yeah.
Brilliant. When we didn't have Saliba last season, he was out on loan and he got French Young Player of the Year. I was pulling my hair out. I was literally, I don't often disagree with Mikel Arteta's decisions, but I'm thinking to myself, come on, lads, get him back.
Yeah.
What a move it was, leaving him that long to get that experience in France. Now, with the benefit of hindsight to how he's played this season, he's been instrumental to Arsenal's form. And I for one, have enjoyed watching him. I think he's a remarkable centre-back.
He's been revolutionary to the defence of our team, James, in that that is the position we've struggled most in my eyes, the centre-halves. And then the goalkeeper behind them has always been panicking a bit because of the centre-halves. And Saliba has come in this year, and I'm not going to name names to compare him with. That wouldn't be fair on the lad, but he's a very, very strong player, and he's right up there. Saliba and Gabriel beside him as well. Let's be fair, Gabriel hasn't let us down, And so we've gone from front to back now, mate. They're all brilliant, which is what we said in the first place.
Yeah, I'm really, really, really proud of Arsenal. I'm proud to be an Arsenal fan, and listen. I'm always proud of the club, but to see them playing so well, and to see the W's coming in time after time in games that, let's have it right, in the past we would have struggled. We would have struggled to keep that momentum. I feel Arteta's turned a real corner, and the way the boys celebrate and they play for each other, it's fantastic to see. It's a credit to Arteta and it's a credit to Arsenal Football Club.
It is. We've lost one game all season, and as I said earlier, we were sucker punched in that one. We've got this game Sunday, and then of course we've got two games against Man City to play, haven't we?
Now,
and we're absolutely capable of beating Man City.
I'm glad you mentioned the two games at Man City. I keep getting this thrown in my face from rival fans who will remain nameless, aka some of my friends in our WhatsApp group. Oh, you've still got to play City twice, this and that. Should we fear City with the way we're playing at the moment?
Never in a million years should we fear City. The game at the start of last season when we got embarrassed at Man City was the start of the end of the old school, right? And then when we played Man City at our place, they dominated us for the first 20 minutes. Man City did. And then suddenly our young lads started to work them out, right? Mikel Arteta's coaching came in and our lads started to work them out. And we lost that game 2-1 at home to Man City. And I've never seen us play better in a losing game. I can't remember seeing us play better and lose a game.
I was there at that game. I was covering that game for Pitch Football. I was out doing some fan work, and people were genuinely pleased with the performance, regardless of the result. They played very well that day, and they more than held their own. Especially when you think of how it started last season, with the bad run of form that we had, and the fans losing their patience a little bit. I know a lot of you guys won't admit it, but a lot of you lost your rag and patience with Mikel Arteta last season, in particular after the Brentford game. So, again, to see them re-galvanised, rejuvenated, it's a special thing. It's a special season. I'm really proud of them.
We're back being proud of our club, aren't we? I mean, we're always proud of our club. I'm always proud of my club. Win, lose or draw, I follow the Arsenal. I follow the Arsenal over land and sea, literally. But it is nice to be back where we should be, top of that ladder and looking good. God, mate, I don't want to say it. Arsenal getting off on Sunday.
Don't say
it. I've not got a bad word to say about any of them, even down to the photographer. Look at the team talk that photographer gave in that documentary.
Incredible. It put egg on your neck.
Yeah, you see the players growing as he's talking.
They should have him every week doing the talks, if you ask me. That was remarkable, absolute remarkable. To use the words of the great late Heavy D, we're going to win the league. God bless you, Colin. God bless you, Colin. Listen, it might be the season. Do you know what I mean? It might be the season.
It could well be, but I'm not saying it yet. We're in with a massive chance, and I honestly think that we are, because we're top of the league. We're the best team in the league at the moment, and where we've improved again this season, teams right up around us in the top 4 or 5 who we'd have lost to in the past, we're now beating. And we're beating them comfortably. Going back to that Spurs game, right? That first half in the Spurs game, just like it was jaw-droppingly good, wasn't it?
Oh,
and then the same Tottenham improved in the second half. I suppose they did a little bit, but we managed the game. You know what I mean? And part of managing the game is having a good goalkeeper that's going to make a save or two.
100%.
And we managed it lovely. We won a comfortable 2-0.
100%. The first half was so good. I think if Tottenham didn't come back at us and try and hit us on the counter-attack, there would have been something wrong. They're at home, big North London derby. They've obviously got a bollocking from Conte at half-time. They could have been 3 or 4-0 down, let's be brutally honest. If Nketiah would have took his first chance. I thought the way Arsenal played in that first half is probably the best half of football as an Arsenal fan I've seen in a long, long time. It was remarkable. Reminded me of the way they played the style of the Invincibles, which, again, it's a big compliment for this young team. Is to get compared to that team, it's a big, big compliment. And I'm super proud of them. I genuinely am.
I agree. I mean, and if you do a comparison with where the Invincibles were in the league, as we are now. I mean, we've lost the game. The Invincibles hadn't lost the game,
Mm.
but we've scored more goals and we've got more points than the Invincibles had at this part of the season. You
What a
know,
great stat.
wow, what a comparison.
What a great stat that is. Honestly, that's a great statistic. I'm glad you shared that. What a great stat that is.
We spoke about it last night. At this stage of the season, this team now have got more points than the Invincibles had.
That's incredible.
You know,
That's
unbelievable.
incredible. Listen, on that note, I've got to say, I've very much enjoyed your company, Trev. It's been absolutely fantastic to spend a bit of time with you. And from now on, you're going to be my go-to guy when I want to talk about the English Premier League's greatest club. So from now on, if it's all right, we'd love to have you on again. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you. I love the points that you make. I love your passion. I love the fact that you follow Arsenal home and away. It means a great deal to us. And I just want to thank Trevor Guna-Hilsey for his time today. And before we go, can you plug your podcast so fans of Picture Football that want to see a bit more, you know where they can watch your stuff, mate?
Yeah, well, thank you for inviting me, James. I do appreciate it. I tend to stick I'm with Guns and Yellow Ribbons, Ferguson, myself. We do the podcast every week, normally on a Monday, but we do move the days about Guns and Yellow Ribbons. We enjoy it. We're doing much like you do now. We're passionate Arsenal fans. We talk about the Arsenal. I don't do any other podcasts. I've not spoke to many people before. I'm going to name drop here. You know, I've had a couple of chats with Kevin Campbell on a podcast.
Yes.
I love the man to bits.
Yes.
I think I went on Amanda's podcast once, Princess, but I don't do it. I'm quite happy doing my little thing. I'm an old bloke, you know, and I'm not good with technology, as we found out tonight. It took me half an hour to get in touch with you. But I've enjoyed it tonight, mate. I'm glad that I said I would do it. I was a bit nervous. Would I say the right things or would I clam up or anything? But hopefully I haven't, mate.
No, you've been absolutely spot on. You've been brilliant. And I knew you were going to be good. Because when I saw Kevin Campbell popping up on the interactions, as you know, he's a big fan of the show. He's been a great supporter of my work, like a mentor to me in some respects when it comes to what I'm doing. He's showed me nothing ever but love, and I've got so much time for the man. So when I saw him interacting, when I asked you to come on, I knew it was going to be a great decision. I really did. So, Trevor, I can't thank you enough for your time. Hopefully, I can persuade you again to come on in the future, and I'd love to talk Arsenal with you all day. I really would. Thank you, mate.
Don't ask me after we've won the title because I'll be pissed for a month, right? So, no.
If we win the title, mate, I think we'll just go out for dinner and just don't worry about podcasting. We'll do some little quirky videos or something. Do you mean?
That'd do for me. Yeah,
you're a top man, Trevor. Thank you ever so much for appearing on Pitch Football. It's been a great pleasure to spend some time here, and I will catch you up in the near future, my man. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. All the best.
See you soon, mate.